In this lesson, students will be able to design a line plot given a data set and interpret the data. So let's begin by defining what a line plot is. A line plot is an effective way to show measurement data. It is a diagram that shows the frequency of data on a number line. On the example shown, notice that a line plot includes a title, which describes the data the line plot is showing, and a number line, in this case marked to the nearest quarter inch. Each X on the line plot represents one piece of data. So looking at this line plot, I can see that there was one plant that was 3 1/4 inches tall, and 3 plants that were 3 1/2 inches tall. Now that you're familiar with what a line plot looks like, let's create one. Ideally, your child should find something that they could measure on their own to the nearest quarter inch, so they could practice their measurement skills. Let's look at some data we have already collected. Students in our class measured the length of their pencils to the nearest quarter inch. Shown is the result of their measurements. You will notice that the data is in no particular order. With a line plot, there is no need to order the data ahead of time. Just note the shortest and longest lengths to create the number line. In this case, the shortest length is 3 inches, so we will begin the number line at 3. This is different from many of the number lines they have made in the past in that we're not starting at 0. You will want to point out that even though 0 is not displayed, the arrows at each end of the number line imply that the numbers do continue in both directions. Let's look at the longest length to determine our end point. It is 5 3/4. So to keep with numbering in whole numbers, let's end our number line at 6. Remind your student to equally partition the space between each of the whole numbers. Looking again at the data, we can see that it is in quarter inches. So relying upon past knowledge of fractions, we will need to further partition the number line into quarter inches between the whole numbers. Let's remember to label the scale on the number line as inches and title our number line. To display the data, just look at each piece one by one and place an X above the measurement that corresponds to each data point. For example, first I see 5 1/2. So I will place an X above 5 1/2 on the number line. The next data point is also 5 1/2, so I will place a second X above that point. The next measurement is 3 inches, so let's put an X above that point. Continue this process with the remaining data until the line plot is complete. As your child is creating the line plot, help them to take care in equally spacing the X's horizontally and vertically, and make each X the same size. If the data is not placed carefully, it can make the line plot difficult to read and wrong conclusions may be drawn. Once the line plot is created, have them look at the data and answer questions like, what can you tell from the line plot? What is the most common pencil length? The least common? What is the difference between the longest and shortest pencil? This will help them to think about the data and use it to solve problems and draw conclusions. Today, our goal was to be able to design a line plot given a data set and interpret the data. We did this by looking at a set of measurement data and first finding the shortest and longest lengths to help us determine the starting and ending points on our number line. We then partitioned the number line equally and labeled the points. Finally, we recorded all the data points on the line plot and used it to answer questions.